We're at the end of February, which means March break is right around the corner, and you may have to figure out what to do with the kids. High school teacher turned entrepreneur Larry LaGamba is holding a confidence boot camp for youth in Georgetown. I spoke with Larry to find out why he's targeting teens with his career coaching and consulting skills.
So, it didn't matter what venture I was involved in, the teaching or in the career consulting side of it. So, what I was seeing was the same theme. I was seeing a lot of students that had the ability, had the knowledge, had the experience, but they didn't have the confidence and the communication skills to go from where they were to where they wanted to be. So, they were being held back primarily by a lack of confidence. So, if I give an example, I would go through the whole pathway piece with students in terms of what career path they were looking forward to. More often than not, it was skilled trades based, right? So even in my community mentorship, I run a community mentorship group called the Skilled Trades Mentorship Group, which started off as a Georgetown Skilled Trades Mentorship Group. Through that, I would make recommendations, and it was all fine and dandy until they had to be acted upon, and then it was whoop, brakes went up. A lot of students were not comfortable putting themselves out there, so they were missing a ton of opportunities by not taking advantage of that, by not having the tools and the guidance and coaching to do that. So I ended up finding myself more often than not confidence coaching them through that process because they're amazing candidates. They just needed help being able to present themselves, communicate, and all that. If I kind of give you an overview of what things are going to look like. So we're using drama-based education for the purposes of building confidence and communication skills. So if I look at something like improv, for example, which is a widely known drama-based tool, we're using that but for the purposes of real life scenarios. So dealing with conflict, like a bullying situation, starting how to start a conversation with somebody that you don't know, presenting yourself in person for an interview. In a way, the situational practice that we're going to be doing through the improv is going to be very similar to like what they do in lifeguard training, where you learn it in a framework. You learn, I guess, how, the different, so we talk about the conversations, we learn about the greeting and the bridge piece of a conversation, and you learn the framework of it, and then you put into practice so that when that happens in real life, you are prepared. So those lifeguards, they would have seen that scenario many times in their training. It's the same thing with this.
So, Larry, no kid is going to say, "Hey, I want to go to confidence boot camp." So this is really a parental decision.
It is.
Why should parents, what should they look for in their kids to maybe say, "Hey, you know what, this might be good for my child"?
So, for example, this past weekend I was actually at a career fair for the Halton Catholic District School Board and met quite a few parents. And it was once they saw the poster right away, "You're going to this," and it was right. So, see, the thing is, that was always the main piece. Obviously, from the business side of things, the marketing side of things, this is geared towards grabbing the attention of parents first because they know that it is something that their kids will want to do. But then what happens is when the students are in the class or they're with us and doing what we're doing, then it becomes, well, we're creating that environment, that engagement, that exciting, that fun, the fun activities and stuff like that. It all depends on how you approach and how you deliver it. And being a teacher and working with students, you always know how to set the right environment, how to essentially ensure that students are, they're aware of why they're there and what the benefits are. So I think that's the most important part because students nowadays are always looking at things from the lens of, well, how's this going to help me? What's the point? Right. So we're going to get right off the bat with that. So we're going to right off the beginning start off with, well, what's confidence, what confidence isn't, and then those that might not feel, because there's some that I've talked to in the past and worked with in the past who say, well, what's the point? It's either you're born with it or you're not. So we are there to debunk a lot of those misconceptions, and that's being one of them. And the way that it's going to be taught is that confidence is a skill. It's like a muscle that can be built, practiced, and strengthened, but it does require action, practice, and consistency. So it's really trying to dissect it into, I guess, a fashion that they're going to digest it, right? So yeah, it is kind of like you're marketing it to one, but it then you have to have that strategy going for sure.